Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Now I often say it's early in the day. Today it's early in the day, like just gone 7 o'clock. But it's not a Sunday morning, it's a Saturday, so which nowadays is a working day, isn't it? Anyway, this is the video where we unwrap my goodies from the show yesterday. Yeah, so we'll crack on with that, and then when we've had a look at the orchids and a chat about them, I've got some news. Things change of circumstances basically, so we will do that on the end. But basically it means that tomorrow's Sunday chat video will take place, but it will be very late in the day before I can get round to posting it. So that's that. Yeah, so I'll swing the camera around and we'll start unwrapping. Now, there's some of the stuff sticking out the top of the wrapping, so I can't hide it. Different trader, different wrapping techniques. I mean, you know what I'm like with Burnhams. Arthur and Sarah will always wrap things up hidden because they know I like to open them on video, so they're sort of way ahead of me. Anyway, we will swing the camera around and make a start. We've got 6 plants, and as I said in my little teaser video when I got back yesterday, we have 2 new genera, and we were going to give away some useless Roger points for people who could guess what they were. Well, several guessed one of them, and on reflection I said it wrong, because I said these were brand new genera that I hadn't had before, whereas in fact one of them I did have some back in the other place. So, you know, many years ago I actually had some. I'd forgotten that, and I actually gave them to Lynn, so some of you now know what that one is. One person had inside knowledge. That was naughty. Only mucking about. But the other genus nobody guessed. So quite a lot of people came up with ideas of ones that I haven't actually got, and several of them I will never have because they're warm growers. Things like Sarcochilus. I can't grow that here, it's too cold. I'd love to, I really like those. I used to have some around the other place again when it was warmer. Anyway, we'll swing the camera around and make a start. Oh, do I swing it round or do I? No, because I'll need to reset it. I'll shut down and I'll come back when I've got the camera where I want it. Okay, that looks somewhere about right. If you can see most of the table and there's some headroom, then we should be okay. Right, so I'm going to start with this one that's sticking out the top of the wrapper. So you're going to know what this is straight away. Except for it is actually, how am I going to do this? I'm going to have to push the camera back a bit. Go back a bit further away. And then come round again, and then I can go up a bit. There we go. Now I have said in the past I'm not getting any more cymbidiums unless I could find some miniatures. We found some miniatures somewhere where I didn't expect to see them. All we got to do is get it out. Actually, I think I'll cut that. It'll be easier in the long run. Get that plastic stuff off. Now you can see what we're doing. On the floor. Just reminds me of Insa when he's unpacking stuff. Over his shoulder, on the floor. My trouble is if I throw it on the floor I've got to bend down and pick it up. And we do have a little bit of backache today from yesterday. Right, so we have a cymbidium. It is a named cymbidium. It is Parnasse. Parnasse. I suspect that's French, and I asked about this. This came from the Mathers Foundation. they had quite a lot of plants for sale, and they weren't all ridiculously expensive. They weren't cheap, but they were not ridiculous. I mean, some of their odonts are 500 quid, you know. Anyway, the fact that that has a French twang to it, an awful lot of the plants, when the foundation was set up, came from the Eric Young Foundation, and all of their hybrids have a French element to the name. A lot of them are named after places on the island of Jersey, where the foundation actually is, the Eric Young Foundation. So they've often got Frenchness, and I suspect that A-S-S-E is pronounced the French way, so that would be Parnasse. Anyway, it's a miniature. It's a large miniature, although I suppose you could say it's quite a small standard, but I would say it's a reasonable miniature. It's only got 3 bulbs, but it's in bloom. Latest bulb is a biggie. I don't know how long it's been in this media. The media is a mix of fibrous material, bark, and what looks like perlite, but it could be grit. No, it's not perlite, it's hard, so it's grit. And the blooms are absolutely gorgeous. And look at the size of the plant, and now look at the size of the blooms. This is standard size blooms on a miniature orchid. These are not small blooms, but the plant is, and that's part of the Mather's breeding program, is to reduce the size of the plant, get the actual spikes to be self-supporting with larger, brighter coloured blooms. So I'd say they'd achieved that quite nicely. So that's one. There's more. Oh, I better keep these tags in the right place. Why have one when you can have 2? I bought this one first, and when I'd actually finished filming, I came back round to chat to Jim, and I thought, actually, I'll have that one as well. So we ended up with 2 miniature cymbidiums. You'll like this one. This was the first purchase on the grounds that it's a colour I haven't got, and it's a miniature. So it killed 2 birds with 1 stone. There must have been some new people dropping into the channel on yesterday's video, because they were guessing, you know, the new genera. Guessing a cymbidium means you haven't watched any of my videos, or certainly not many, or you'd know I've got a collection of cymbidiums nowadays. Never used to have, but we have now. And you're going to like this one a lot. I liked it a lot. We've gone from a bit big and blousy to about as delicate as you can get. And these pots have got weeds growing in them, so I suspect they're well rooted in. Now that is a miniature. Yeah, that is a nice miniature plant with still reasonable sized blooms. Look at the delicate colours on that. White with hints of delicate pink. So there's nothing shouty loud about those. Yeah, so yeah, 2 cymbidiums. So that's those. Coffee. Gonna need a lot of that at this time of day. What should we do next then? I think what we'll do next is this, because this has got a story. Now this isn't one of the new genera. What it is a new Masdevallia. And in amongst the Masdevallias for sale, this one was 3 times the size of the others. So I didn't even know what it was called. I picked it up stop anybody else getting at it. It was flipping busy there yesterday. It's the sort of things, if you thought, oh, I wonder if I fancy that plant, by the time you'd picked it up, somebody else would have had it in their hands. So you had to be quick off the mark. So anyway, I bought this because it's a nice plant. We then had a bit of a saga with Lynn because we had to look the name up, and the name's spelt wrong. There's a D missing, yeah, so that species doesn't exist. But if you put a D in it, it does. And if you look at the name, hang on, let me get it out so that you can see. If you look at the species name, you can almost tell the letter that's missing, can't you? Yeah? The D is missing. It's Schroderiana. Yeah? So I will change that when I put one of my tags in. That's not the story, that's only half the story. Because I'm now walking around holding this, a guy came up to me and introduced himself as one of the viewers. Yeah, and said he watches the channel and everything like that. I love meet. I actually met a lot of people there that actually came up and said hello, that watch the channel, and I'm always pleased when that happens. But this went one little bit further. He then said, and would you let me buy that orchid for you? As a sort of donation to the channel basically, but rather than actual money, he bought this plant for me. So I didn't actually pay for this one, it was bought for me. Now this has got new growths coming. It is a big plant in a silly little pot, and it needs coming out and putting in a bigger pot to start these roots growing again, because a lot of these have stalled where they're sticking out the top of the pot. But it's got quite reasonable roots, so we'll get that in a bigger pot. And the bigger pot element will have bark, not moss. The little bit of moss that's on the inside I'll probably leave this time round, unless it teases out very gently. But I don't want to do a massive disturbance on the plot, but we do have some new growth starting. And no sign of any buds, but the blooms on this, you can look it up for yourself, but Lynn looked it up for me. They're large, so this is large Masdevallia blooms. Pair of colours. One of the colours is quite unusual for Masdevallias because it's quite a deep purple. So that's that one. That was a present, effectively. Well, in reality, all the plants were presents because the donations sent me there with money to spend. That's another story there. We'll come on to that in a bit. Right, so that's that. So that's 3. This is 4, and this is one of the new genera that I have had before, and several people got this one right. Nice cool growing plant, should do well for me, and I will have more coming because Lynn's got quite a few of these, and she will be splitting and potting some up towards the end of the year. And shall I say it? Yeah, I will, because it's going to come out eventually anyway. Lynn, who in my eyes has always been, got her own YouTube channel, Lynn Smith, and has always been sort of famous for, if you know, or well known for, her Masdevallias and Draculas, her cool greenhouse. And then she has a double greenhouse with half of it's intermediate and half of it's warm. So she has all 3 environments. She's closing down the cool greenhouse. Some of the plants in there will come into the intermediate one, and the rest are going. So towards the end of this year, it's going to be a little bit of an influx of Masdevallias and Draculas. I've got my name down because I'm quite happy to expand my collection of both of those now that I grow cooler. And they're never huge plants, so they're easy to accommodate, easy to find space for. So that'd be good. She also is getting quite a collection of these, and they're not that easy to get hold of in the UK, but she has a grower up north that she's found who has some fabulous plants with some good colours as well. And again, he grows them so well, he's splitting them up, so she's expecting to get another influx from there. And again, when she divides some of hers, I've got my name down. So what are we looking at then? So those of you who guessed Sarcochilus got it right. This was quite funny because I picked this up, and this is from Spices Otics. And this time I gave it to the guy to sort of wrap up and pay for, and he held it up and he pointed it at me and he went, "In bud, not in bloom." So I made my point. We don't need to keep making it, we don't need to do it again. But yeah, that's the Mazda Valley. Let's get that label over here. So this is the name's obscured, it's gone off of the label, but there are two species that you come across quite frequently. One of them's Hartmannii and the other one's this one. I think it's Fitz something or other, or something Fitz something or other. I'll know what it is when I see it. So I got this. It's got one main plant growing away and several plantlets that have started at the base, and it also has 4 spikes developing. So in bud, not in bloom. Yeah, so we got a spike over here, another little one here, and there's another one somewhere. Where was it? Oh yeah, I'm sure Lynn said she saw 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, perhaps it was 3. Perhaps we went for the one with one less spike but better roots. So a cool grower, found in Eastern Australia, so Queensland and the like, there. Often on rocks, not necessarily an actual epiphyte, often a lithophyte, and often found in river ravines, you know, where the moisture is held, and there's a bit of splashing and, you know, that sort of stuff going on. Must not dry out, basically. They do not like being dry and they hate heat. It's not like some plants that will put up with the heat but just stop growing. These die. They really do not like heat. And they don't need intense light. They like good light, not bright light. You can have bright light, it doesn't harm them as long as they're acclimatized. So that's one of the new genera, even though I have had a few before. And the last two are in this diddy little bag. Came from Burnham's. They're new to Burnham's. Anybody got it yet? A hint of colour. That's all you're getting. And this is new to me and I've got to do a bit of work. These are terrestrials. They are almost hardy, so these are cool growers. They can be grown in your garden, but you would have to give them winter protection, and they would be prone to slugs and snails taking the new growths off. So, you know, mine will not be going in the garden. They'll be staying in here. And nobody guessed that. These are Pleiones, or Pleiones, people say it differently. They're a bulb and they grow a new growth which blooms and then swells up to be the new bulb. Once bloomed, they never bloom again. Now this is a hybrid. This is Tongariro. It's easier for you to read it. So that's that one. As I say, that's a hybrid. Potted up in the tiniest bark, which almost makes it soil. But they are terrestrials, but they don't like to be soggy. Now on this new growth here, you can see the mass of roots starting at the bottom. And then I will get a nice swelling. I asked Arthur, do they bulk up very easily? He said if they're in good conditions and everything, you will get a bulb that's bigger than the previous one until it reaches its maximum, at which point you should get 2 growths. And then once you get 2, you've got 2 leads, and then you get 2 new bulbs until eventually you will get 2 on each of those. So they can clump up. Some of them do it readily, he said, and others just don't seem to want to do it, so you just get a replacement bulb each year. But with these, the idea is that you get a pot full. So you gradually get more and more bulbs, but you keep them in a pan, like a wide, shallow pot, so that they all bloom together and put on a bit of a mass showing. We're not there yet. Nowhere near it yet. So that's that one. And then the other one is another one of the same. There were 3 there, but there were only 2 different ones. They did have more, but they've gone. He said we sold these quite early on. Yes, it was quite funny because we got there silly early. All the time I'd allowed for traffic and roadworks and stuff, didn't use any of it. So we aimed to get there about 9:30 so that we could have a coffee and then go in at 10 o'clock when it opened. Well, we got there before 9 o'clock. So we were well early. Now the bloom on this one looks like it's just starting to go over, which is a shame. But nonetheless, this one I think is the species. Yes, this is Formosana. One that goes into an awful lot of the hybrids. And again, it's a good sized bulb, and the new growth has many new roots. Yeah, so it should produce another good bulb. So that's that one, and that's a more lilac-y colour, a more delicate colour. Let's get you a close-up. Lovely patterning in the lips on these. There is one species that's yellow, I believe. There may be more than one, but I know of one. And obviously once that gets into hybridization programs, that can produce quite bright colours in the lip, but it can also introduce some yellow, because these are mainly whites through to the pinks into the purples in the main. Right, so those are the plants that I got. Let's just move this up a bit, but I still need to chat. Right, now we had some donations which were greatly appreciated. I've already done the thank yous for that. Because it's still cold out here, it hasn't warmed up properly. Yes, so we've done that. But this morning, during the night, we've had another donation. And I have to say this time, I hope you can afford this, because it's the same person. Remember I said the donations, somebody had actually sent, in the Buy Me a Coffee app, had actually sent 30, that's 30 times £3, had actually donated that amount, which was the bulk of what I took to spend yesterday. They've done it again. Now that changes everything, because what it does now mean, given that Wisley is the only big show that I can get to this year, it's highly unlikely I will go to the NEC. It's a hell of a drive, and I don't want to stop over, so I'd have to do the drive both ends of the day. So I probably won't go, not this year anyway, which means Wisley's the only big show. So I'm going again tomorrow. Now obviously this time I'll be going on my own, not with Lynn, but I'm going again. Now I know the road and the journey time and everything like that. It's around a 2-hour run, so it's quite a bit less than going to Burnham's, which I do relatively frequently, and I'm happy to do that drive again tomorrow. I nearly was going to get up and go today when I saw the extra donation had come in. And then I remembered I've got a home shopping delivery today. I'm glad I remembered that. I'd have got in real trouble if I wasn't in. You know, once they've loaded up the food and the freezer stuff into the truck, they don't really want to take it back, do they? Yes, so I'll be going tomorrow. Now, I don't need to leave silly early tomorrow like I did yesterday, because I didn't know how long it was going to take yesterday, and it didn't take anywhere near as long as I was expecting. So I don't need to leave till sort of 8 o'clock, you know, rather than what yesterday I left at 7 o'clock, which is quite early. And on top of that, there's another story there. Because I left at 7, I obviously got up quite, well, I get up early anyway, but I had my breakfast quite early. That's not the time I eat normally. So guess what I didn't do? I didn't take my tablets before I left. So my heart tablet that keeps everything in check and stops me being silly or overdoing anything like that, just holds me back all the time, I hadn't taken that tablet, and that's a daily tablet that lasts for the day, and then you take another one, and I hadn't taken it. So I got tracked at Wisley, because I said I'm setting off walking, I don't know how far I'm going to go and everything. My phone was tracked. So my two friends Lynn and Helen, we joined I think it's called Find Me or something. I didn't set it up, I just gave my phone to Lynn, she set it all up. She's good on those phones, whereas I'm not. But yeah, so wherever I went, they could see where I was on the map. So I basically said, if I stop moving for more than 10 minutes, can you come and get me? Because I might need help. But I did look at the big greenhouse and the lake and that part, and I'd love to have got there, but the steep steps and slopes, I'd have had to come back up, and I wasn't sure that was a good idea. So we didn't do it. So as far as filming yesterday was concerned, I filmed not that much in the orchid place because I couldn't get at it. It was so busy, you could get in, but then I couldn't walk sideways like I normally do. So I haven't filmed that much. I filmed the bonsai walk, so that will be a separate video. And what anybody into the gardening sort of stuff, I filmed the blooms in the alpine house, and they were stunning. And obviously alpine, mountain plants, cool, yeah. Somebody had decided, because of the breeze coming through, they decided in the sunshine it might be nicer to shut the doors. So several of them had gone like that. You're supposed to stay cool, alpine, brainless people sometimes. But nonetheless, it had shut the fragrance in. The fragrance was overpowering. The various, not individuals I could say were fragrance. I didn't go around sniffing them, but yeah, that was a stunning little part of the day. And again, with people standing in the way, I had to do it in various stages, but I'll join them together and make a video out of that as a separate thing. You will enjoy that, and for those of you who may have never seen it, there are some plants in there that are real blue. Real blue, not mucking about like in the orchid world where a bit purpley blue. These were blue, gorgeous. So that's to come. And notice how the times are changing. I'm just going to swing the camera around. That's called sunshine. So we've got to the time of year where the sun comes through that gap in the hedge, between the hedge and the tree and the house. And it just finds these side windows for about 20 minutes, half an hour. And then it won't do it anymore because it'll be too high in the sky. So it only does it sort of this time of year, just for a bit. And that's nice. Yes, so I shall be going to Wisley again tomorrow. If you're there and you're one of the viewers, come and say hello. I always like to say hello. But it's going to be not a dash, but the purpose is to get more orchids from the only big show I'm going to be able to get to this year. I mean, I see Burnham's quite frequently. I see Lawrence Hobbs quite frequently. But the other traders I don't, if you see what I mean. So I'm going back for the sole purpose of buying some more orchids. So I'm not going to be there long. I'm hoping to get there for 10 o'clock when they open. I will go straight to the place where the orchids are. We won't hurry because it's all uphill. The building they're in is called Hilltop. For that very reason, it's sat on top of a hill, overlooks the grounds and everything. Smashing place and everything, but it's uphill to get there anyway. To come down again. Yeah, so I shall go there. I shall look round the orchids, decide what I'm going to buy them, and probably not do much else. I might try and do a bit more filming, but it's going to be even busier tomorrow because it's weekend. So there'll be a lot of people there that just go to Wisley because it's the weekend and they can, you know. So it will be a lot busier tomorrow. So that may be all I do. I might try and do a bit round the gardens, but I need to go steady. As I said, some of those steps, there's a lot of them and they're very steep and things like that. So we shall see. So anyway, that's what I've got so far. We will see what else we can get. Not sure what. I mean, I did have a look round at what was for sale yesterday, but I know that some of them will have set up their display, you know, the bit to be judged, and then their sales area, and they will replenish their stocks overnight, ready for the next day, you know. So there could be some new stuff there that I haven't seen before. But that's the idea, and that's why the Sunday chat will take place, but it'll be later in the day, because it's got to be after I get back. And the tail end of that will be whatever new orchids I got. So we'll add that on the end of the Sunday chat. And in the Sunday chat, I'll have a chat about the show itself and all that sort of stuff. And the wonderful lunch that Lynn made us, that we had. But I'll do all that in tomorrow's Sunday chat. Right, so that's it for today. New orchids. And yeah, find some places for them. Update my notes, because they've all got names. So, you know, every one has got a proper name, not just hybrid. So we'll get my notes updated and find them a spot where they'll be happy. And I need to find out light for the Pleiones. The fact that you can grow them in your garden doesn't mean they can take full sun. You know, they might be hardy outdoor plants, shady. Yeah, just because they're outdoor doesn't mean they, you know, need the bright light. So I will do a bit of work on that. Sarcochilus I'm all right with, the Masdevallias I'm okay with, and cymbidiums. But yeah, this caught my eye straight away when I went up to Mather's. I was chatting to Jim, watching this out of the corner of my eye, and it wasn't the only one. There were several there, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to have that. It's a miniature and lovely delicate. I wanted a white one. It's the only colour I haven't got, and that is almost white. It's not pure white because of the pink tinges, but the majority of the petals and the sepals are white. So pleased with that. And I'll see you next time. I hope that coffee's not cold. That's not too bad. Right. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.